So you think your boiler's had it? I'll fetch the 2 bags from the van. If you want the best, don't ask questions, 'cause brother, I'm your man. What it'll cost, well, that's a mystery. Until I take off the cover, who knows what I'm gonna see. These are the jobs that driving me berserk. Why do only fools and plumbers work?
Right, let's get into it. Why am I jumping onto this quick live? It is actually a live on the Built to Last page. I'm also, sorry, didn't mean to do that. I'm also looking at some nice fingernails there. I'm also live streaming to LinkedIn, so to anybody that's following me on LinkedIn, hello, I'm back. What I want to share today, if I can get to the Boiler Business community, is this question that keeps coming up. Oh, by the way, we'll come back to this one. Dominate Marketing 22/4. We're doing that next Thursday, Friday at Valent HQ in Belper. Now, this is a question that has prompted me to take some time out today to gather a little bit of data, put it together into some nice pretty slides to present the information to you. This, what's on screen now, Mr. Vic, thank you for asking the question. Let's read this out to you for people that are lazy. Okay. Any tips and tricks to optimize a service area business on Google My Business? Since taking my address off it, it seems no matter how much work I put into it, I'm not getting anywhere. Before I took my address off, I was able to rank across most of a top city in the UK for a few different search terms. Now I'm nowhere to be seen. I've recently started building pages. I'll not go on to all of that. What I want to share with you guys, if I can just come back to a solo of myself here. Vic is not the first person to come across this problem. I've been hearing about this problem for over 2 years now. We work in Built to Last. We work with over 40 heating businesses across the UK. I'm very, very lively across many social media groups, so I see people having this same problem with Google. It's basically a Google suspension. You're not playing by the Google rules, so we're going to remove you until you read the rules and can jump through the hoops. Now, a number of the people that I have spoke to have jumped through the hoops. The majority of the people that have got their Google My Business live again are basically saying it's not working like it used to. Now, I've recently gone through 15 businesses SEO reports. Of the 15 businesses that I'm looking at, 3 of them in the last 12 months have been forced into being a service area business, and that's what I'm going to be sharing with you today. It's basically this data, which I really think it's worth watching along, having a look at it, and once I've showed you what that data is, then we can have a little bit of a chat about is there anything that we can do about it if you do fall into being a service area business. I think I just need to point out what is a service area business if you're not aware of this so far. So a service area business, as far as Google's concerned, is any business that is serving an area. Service area business. Basically, if a customer cannot come to your property, to your place of business and visit you, like a coffee shop or like a mechanic, if you are like a plumber or an electrician or a joiner, and you go out to people's properties, they don't come to you. So this is what Google's saying is a service area business. If you are a plumber, a heating engineer, an electrician, a joiner, and you do actually have offices where the general public could come and visit your offices, then you don't have to be a service area business. You can be, I think it's called a hybrid business. Now, the way that the trade industries are, particularly in the UK, the vast majority of people are working from the van. Basically, they've got a laptop, that's their office at home, is via a laptop, and they're working from a van. So the vast majority of trade businesses in the UK are service area businesses. The vast majority of them set up their JMB profile pre-2019, and it was around about 2019 or the start of lockdown in 2020 that Google revised its policy and introduced this service area business. So this is it. We all started with a GMB way back in the day. Google changed its policy. It wasn't really in a good position to enforce it, but now what we're starting to see is as people move address, change their phone number, change their business name, whatever they do to trigger Google to take a closer look at your business, it can basically say, hey, you shouldn't be showing your address. You're not going by the Google guidelines. We're going to remove you until you jump through the hoops. So let's move on to the data. Just going to share this. So what's happening with Google SABs? Now, I've made these slides up. Did I make these slides up just for a quick 10-minute video on YouTube? No, I didn't. I made these slides up because we are presenting the Dominate Marketing 22.4 in Belper next week down at Valence. Now, first slide. Okay, by the way, we're going to really go deep on a lot of data, a lot of SEO, a lot of marketing strategy at that event. So the first slide, this one's good. This one's positive. Okay, so this is showing 3 local businesses that are currently showing their address in Google. I'm not going to comment whether they should be a service area business or not. Some of them should be, some of them maybe not. What I can say is currently in Google they are set as your standard local business showing the address. Now if we look down the bottom here, this is Q2 calls, so I have access to a lot of people's back-end SEO reports, and this for the last quarter of 22.4 is just the data surrounding calls. The interesting point, if we were to zoom in, I wonder if we can zoom in for you, not on this screen. The interesting part is it's looking at sorry, I've come back a slide, come here. It's also when you log into your Google Business Profile, you can look at the data from this time last year. You can look at it from 12 months ago. This business, Business One, has got 32% more calls in Q2 to what he did in 22.3. Okay. Business Two, 27% more calls than in 22.3. That's over the course of the quarter. If we're just playing with these numbers, 207, what's that? 20, 25, 30 calls. I don't have my calculator with me. However, business number 3 has took a hit. Now, this is a business that's still showing the address, and they've taken 34% less calls. I've put that in there to just kind of show you that even if you are showing your business address, your data does go up and down. It's just natural. There's other things happening in the world at the moment. There's other things happening in politics. There's lots of things that are happening in the industry, but also potentially just because you've got 34% less calls doesn't necessarily relate to the calls that you had before were better calls. Now, I know this business, and I know that the calls that they are getting is better this year than what there was last year. Now, moving on. So let's come back over here. Hit this. Perfect. Now, this is 3 service area businesses that I have access to the data. And first of all, what we've got to say is they didn't particularly have high volume last year in 22.3. They didn't. Each one of these businesses are outside of a big population area, okay? And then over the course of the last 12 months, each one of these businesses have found that their Google business has been suspended, and this is the results 12 months later. Okay, so this business minus 12%. Yeah, it didn't really have many calls to start with. This business minus 40% calls. This business minus 57% of calls. Okay, so that's a chunk. Now, there's a big difference to say here between your data for the calls. Now, the calls is only who was for people that searched for you on Google, found you on the maps area, so only for the clicks that have come through to the maps, and then from the maps area they've clicked call business from their mobile. They wouldn't click call business if they search for you on desktop, and this data would not include once they've actually clicked through to your website, looked at your telephone number on your website, and then called you from there. So it's important to know that this is only for covering the data for how many people clicked call now from the Google app. Right, coming forward. So back to business 1, 2, and 3 rather than A, B, and C. So these are the local businesses that are showing their Google. They are showing their address to Google. Now this data is different because this is covering the clicks, not the calls. I argue, consider this, if you are only doing high-end ticket work such as boiler installation, heat pumps, solar, customers are not just going to see your 67 reviews that you've got on Google and say, I'm going to call that number. They're not. They're going to click through to your website. That's if the customer is looking for a high-end service such as £3,000, £5,000, £10,000 installations. However, if your customer is looking for an emergency plumber, or if your customer is looking for boiler repair because they're in a rush, potentially just seeing them 67 reviews on your Google business, seeing that you're open at 5 o'clock on a Friday, and they click call now. Okay, so different situations for different customers will give different data. Now back to business 1, 2, and 3. Business number 1, if I can remember which order these are. Business number 1 is an all-round plumbing and heating business. Now they've got 35% more clicks this quarter in 22/4 compared to Q2 in 22/3. Business number 2 has 15% less clicks. Okay, business number 3 has 29%, nearly 30% more clicks. Now these are decent numbers to start with. They were decent numbers to start with, and they've gone up 35% and 30%. I've included, like I did in the last example, I've included one just to point out that just because you're still showing your address on Google doesn't guarantee that the numbers are going to be better next year. Your numbers can still go down. That's the reason why I included that. So let's come back over to the last example. Okay, so these are the same 3 businesses as before that are now service area businesses, and look at this, 55% less clicks. To be fair, they didn't really have many clicks before. This business, however, was getting clicks. So was this business was getting clicks, and they've taken roughly a third less clicks through to their website this year since becoming service area business. So how can we advise you where to go if that is your situation? Well, first of all, we need to do this. We need to go to Google. we need to type in, I can't remember what it was that I typed in. This is what I typed in: Google guidelines for service area businesses. There. To be fair, just putting in Google guidelines would do it. This has taken me through to guidelines for representing your business on Google. Basically, what we're going to do here is come down to where it talks about address. Right, let's zone into a few points on here. It'd be nice if I had it already highlighted. In short, if I'm to just ad hoc this, right, you have to not be in a shared office block. Okay, you can be in a shared office block that has eight addresses in it. We're in one now. Okay, we have a few businesses working from this same premises, but each room is separate. You can't use virtual offices. You can use your house, but if you're going to use your house, you have to display. That that's where the business is. Okay. Here's all the part about service area businesses right here. Let's read this out for you so you don't have to find it and read it. Service area businesses or businesses that serve customers at their locations should have one profile for the central office or location with a designated service area. Service area business can't list a virtual office, that's what I was trying to point out, cannot list a virtual office unless that office is staffed during opening hours. Now that's interesting. I've never picked up on that one line, so that's worth looking at, because I was speaking to somebody just a couple of weeks ago actually at the Installer Show that was talking about this, that their virtual office that they're paying money to claim that they are Google approved, and I think it's because it is staffed, but it's not staffed by your staff is what I'm guessing. You have to have a member of your staff available in office hours in order for the general public to come and visit you. However, consider this: you can set that the client, the customer, has to make an appointment with you. Okay, you can't just walk into a dentist. I know some dentists maybe you can, particularly if you go to Turkey, but you can't just walk into a dentist in the UK and say, I'm just going to wait to see a dentist, because they'll say, no, you'll have to come back in 3 weeks' time. So just consider that. If you were to have, say, an office in the garden, potentially you could set up your GMB to take appointments only. Okay, let's went off down a bit of a rabbit hole there. So some businesses like auto repair shops that have a garage for repairs and offer roadside service or hybrid service area businesses. These businesses can show their shop front address and designate a service area on their business profile. If you serve customers at your address and want to set a specific area, your business location should be staffed by your team and able to receive customers during its stated hours. Google determines how best to display your business address based on the business information and information from others. So I think you get where we're going here. Google really doesn't want you to do this. It is cracking down. There's people left, right, and centre that are having their GMBs suspended. I've spoken, other than the data that I've just showed you there, I've spoken to one business a few weeks now. He claims or estimates that his business is about 50% down on revenue. 50%, and by the way, his revenue was pretty tasty now. So to think that he's now down to 50% of what it was before. He was looking on expanding and taking on another couple of engineers, and that just isn't happening now because he doesn't have enough work coming through. This is all since Google suspended his business. He did have one of them virtual offices. Okay, so that's me just kind of pointing out this is happening. Do I have an answer for you? The answer is learn how to jump through the hoops of Google if your data says that that's where you're getting your work from. If you are getting a lot of work from Google, and you are a service area business, and you're never going to be in a position to rent an office or to set up a showroom in the garden and make it legit that you can invite customers to come and have a cup of coffee and look at your heat pump installation. If that's never going to be the case, and you are getting lots of work from Google, I think what you need to do is have a plan on, right, so if the inquiries were to go down by 50%, what are we going to do about it? You know, would we survive? So sorry to leave it on that. This is leading into our Dominate Marketing 22/4 at Valent HQ in Belper. We're going to be sharing loads of insights over 2 days. Hopefully you can make it. If you can't make it, please keep an eye out for a future Built to Last event, because there will be another one coming, probably September, October of this year.
So you think your boiler's had it? I'll fetch the 2 bags from the van. If you want the best, don't ask questions, 'cause brother, I'm your man. What it'll cost, well, that's a mystery. Until I take off the cover, who knows what I'm gonna see. These are the jobs that driving me berserk. Why do only fools and plumbers work? La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la, yeah. Why do only fools and plumbers work?
Sorry, just as I was trying to flick onto my shared screen there, right, I saw this old this old video clip that we did before Christmas. I think it's really fitting to end the video on that.